camera. So, I know I say a lot of crazy things without sitting down and articulating them. So, I guess that I just want to put more into certain thoughts. Like, I always say that all people are good, and I think that gets lost because my thought on that is a lot of people see the world in this black and white, people are good or they're bad style. And the thing about it is people are not like the movie style of like a hero is good, it's always good, they don't do no bad, and a villain is all bad and they don't do any good. And we started to learn that, but we still, because it's such a new concept to us, that people are a balance of both, that we don't understand that we get trapped in this consciousness thing of, by considering somebody else the bad guy, we become the hero to do bad acts. Um it's There's this complexity in the world of like morals. I believe that each person should have their own personal morals. And with that is always going to come a slight bit of judgment. But there's a way to balance this. So I understand that my morals are my own morals. But for me to have my own morals means that when I look at other people's acts, and how they handle themselves and all of these things, as a human being, I'm going to compare their actions to my standard of morals. But I have to be aware that that means nothing, that my morals are my own and they have their own set of morals. And that's the way the world is meant to function. The purpose of being a human, like the grand purpose in life, seems to be to self focus with intentional benefit of all. So how that's done, and basically it's every day I I'm subjected to reality, but consciousness is a tool of how I see reality. And therefore, I have a lot of control over, uh, at the very least, the filter of reality for myself. So, to take every action, and if somebody does something that in a moment I take personally, I can look at it one of two ways. I does this truly involve me? Is this truly about me? Or is this something personally about themselves? And if it's about them themselves, then I need to move on to my own next task so that I'm not putting too much energy into something that is not necessarily true, useless, and honestly, even if it is true, what does it matter? Uh, Not knowing on certain things, like not focusing on certain things that are out of your control, are just the best way to handle life. And I'm not saying that any person's going to be perfect. Even if we wrote down a perfect handbook of how to function in life, we would still not function perfectly, because there's just, we're very, very complex creatures trying to do very complex things, and we're trying to do it with very simplistic uh, mindsets on stuff. Um, a lot of people are aware that we see reality through a filter, but at the same time, a lot of people aren't, and they don't understand the extent of this filter. So, a painting that, you can put blobs of color on a canvas, and when you look at the finished product, it's a painting. But when you still look detailed at it, it doesn't stop being just blobs of paint, just because we see some bigger picture in that. It's the same as a cloud. A cloud is a cloud. Just because we see a shape in the clouds doesn't make it that shape. It's still a cloud in that thing shape. Um, and And so we come into this part in the world right now where people are, you're either on this side or this side, which are box labels, and it doesn't matter if you actually fit in them or not. You're always going to be projected seen as that. And if you're on the fence, you have everybody trying to push you onto the other side. Um, um, and I've always believed that to stop the pendulum from swinging, you have to stop feeding it energy. That, as long as every human being is focusing on themselves to try to better for the whole, because we all ultimately die, and the whole is ultimately going to help ourselves, because there's ultimately we're working towards something. Even if we don't get to experience it, we still play a part in creating it while we're here. And so you know, I'm crazy. I see utopia as basically the world the way it is without money, where people work together and organize and do things, balancing together to where people actually had time to do the fun things that they wanted to do, but they also still, if I want to go down, I like my local convenient grocery stores and convenience stores and stuff like that. So if I want them to keep operating, I'm going to make sure that once a week I make sure that trucks are being delivered and stuff like that. So like, I just personally believe that utopia is already so close to us. It's just our functioning world now without money, with us understanding that people are not going to sit there and be lazy and do nothing and just take, 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 because everybody should be logical enough to understand that if you just take, 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 and don't give, you'll end up with nothing. But if we, continue to give and feed into things like homeless people went into houses, then you wouldn't have empty houses decaying, because you could work together on, if money wasn't the factoring, people could teach each other trades and stuff. You wouldn't be a competition to teach everybody things. You wouldn't have the limitations of things. People would have the ability to find their niche in life and what their calling is, because they would be able to venture into all of these different things. You'd have a community that works better together and stuff like this, because a lot of the things that pin us against each other is taken out by money. Money really does pin us together, pin us against each other, and it's sad because it was originally created through kind of a really good concept of, look, we all need to work together, and this person's doing this and this person's doing this. We need a universal thing to where we can just balance this back and forth so everybody can have what they need. And that was a beautiful idea. But now that we have created everything in the world that needs to be, and there's more people than there is jobs, there is necessities for all of these things, we could still live in a world where we do all of these things. If I was a pilot and money stopped being a thing, I would still fly planes and take people on planes and still have that going back and forth, because one, I wouldn't have became a pilot just because of the money. I would also personally want to fly, so it's like stuff like that. It's just, we as humans, what we can contribute into the world, we want to contribute into the world, and we need to learn how to feed into that. I know nobody's going to go for getting rid of money, so don't I'm not saying let's get rid of money. I'm just saying that's personally how I view utopia, is just simply the world that we have now, where people just simply accept each other, and not necessarily accept, because like I said with the morals things, where you can judge somebody to your moral standard, as long as you understand that means nothing, that that's how that sizes up to what you personally would do, and that's nothing more. You can have these thoughts without having all of the aggression behind it, if we just reworked a little bit of the way we view the world. To be honest with you, the way we understand things has been amazing, because we've learned all of this on our own by just working thoughts and things out, and that's beautiful and that's amazing, but we have to continue to progress that.